Yeah, it's fine. Okay. So once you have your 5 slabs of clay cut out, then you're going to be ready to build. Okay. So remember, this is what our goal is, to create a box that looks like this. So you should have had 1 slab that didn't have, that is clearly not the right size. I don't know how that happened. But you'll have 1 slab that doesn't have the stamp on it. If you accidentally put your stamp on all of them, no big deal. Just use any one you want. So sorry, I'm going to make a bottom piece. Okay, so with the piece that doesn't have the stamp on it, that's what you're going to be building around to begin with. Then, give me just 1 second. Get this rolled and cut out. If your water bowls don't have water in them, you can add like about 1 inch of water in it, because you're going to need that to do your scoring and flipping. No, sorry, Ella. Didn't see you handing me the. Okay, so with your piece without the stamp, that's your bottom. When you build this, you want to begin with your long sides first. So you're going to take a piece of clay that has the long side. This piece is going to attach to the outer edge, either side, but make sure your pattern faces out when you do that. And you're going to stand it on top of that bottom slab. So now you're going to be scoring and flipping. So you have to use the wet toothbrush to do this. So dip your toothbrush in water. You're going to brush along the top edge of that bottom slab. Where they connect, you also have to brush. So because it's going to connect down here, I'm going to brush that. And you want to press hard enough that you see the score marks. And it should look slimy on the surface, because that's the water. That's the slip that you just made. Then you're going to stick. Score, slip, stick. And you want to kind of make sure it's lined up on this outer edge. And then you're going to get your small piece. So you have to pay attention to the angle your small piece is at, because one angle is going to be too short. So when you put your small piece here, that should be close to the same height as your first one. Mine doesn't appear to match the stencil. So this is really what you should do. Do you see the small one? Will you hand it to me? You should check this first before you build. If not, I can get it at another table. You should check that the stencils still are the right size. Which something's off, but that is the right size. I don't know what happened. But see how if I turn it this way, it's a little shorter?
Yeah.
So then you need to make sure that, and look right here, see how it's hanging off the slab? This piece is longer. That's how I know it's in the wrong direction. So when I turn this, there should be a gap right here, and you can walk around the other side if you can't see it. This gap is correct. You want that space there. So what I'm going to do now is attach these 2 together. So I have to brush here, I have to brush here, and then I have to brush 2 sides. Make sure your pattern faces out. So now I'm going to brush on this side.
Why would you use a spork?
We just have toothbrushes. They break. Sporks break.
We use a spork.
I know, but the plastic ones break. Okay, so now you have to make sure that you press it together well enough that it's actually going to attach. So right now, my clay is leather hard. You can pass this around and feel that. So I can press pretty strongly because my clay is leather hard. If your clay is really soft though and you press too hard, you're going to leave fingerprints and you're going to smear the pattern. So just be cautious of that. Okay, now once I have these corners attached, go ahead and look. Once I have these corners attached, I have to add a piece of clay on the inside before I can smooth. We just did score, slip, stick. Now what I have to do is add a coil. So I want really soft clay. So in your bucket, find the soft clay. And I want to work with about this much clay. Look at what I'm doing. This much clay. You watching? To make a coil. Now I'm going to start rolling this out, and my coil should be about as skinny as a pencil that you would write with. Then you're going to take that coil, you're going to stand that along the tall corner. I always put a hand behind my wall to support it, and now I'm just going to smear that. Now I'm doing step 4, which is smooth. Score, slip, stick, smooth. So we add this coil because it acts like a band-aid or a brace to help keep those wall pieces connected. So then I'm going to take another small piece of clay, roll that out to be about as wide as a pencil, and then I'm going to smear that anywhere the two pieces connected. I always keep a hand behind the wall so I don't accidentally push my wall over, and then I have to do that along this edge. So we're reinforcing your walls with a coil. So the first thing you want to do is get your long rectangle in place. Then stand that short one next to it. These two will now help each other stand up. Once you've got two connected, they're pretty stable at that point. So now I'm going to put my second short wall here. So anywhere they touch, I have to score here, score here. Pattern faces out. Score here, score here. Stick. And then what do I add on the inside?
Coil.
Yep, I'm going to add a coil on the inside in two places. And I want really soft clay for coiling. If your clay's not soft, it does not smooth very easily. Okay, when you get to wall number 4, that's your other long piece of rectangle. And that's going to fit in these gaps right here. So those gaps are there for a reason. And I'm actually going to kind of trim this a little bit because I can see it's taking up space. Okay, my last piece is going to fit like this. Right in the front, it fills that gap and it connects to the short sides. So, same thing, score, slip. Now, it will be a little more challenging to get your coils in there because now your box is completed. So you're just going to have to put your hand on the inside. So now I have to brush here, brush here. Oh, sorry, wrong edge. I have to brush this edge because that's where it's touching. And then stick. And you really want things to kind of line up as best as you can get them on the seams. And now I just have to reach my hand in that box to get my coils on the inside. That's really going to help your walls stay connected and not pull apart as things dry. So once you get to that point, then what I want you to look at is the outside of your box. Once you've finished coiling on the inside, you want to check the outer edge of your box to make sure there's no gaps between the walls. And then we're going to do a little bit of trimming on the top edge. So the number one problem I see with students is they forget to put the coils on the inside. And when I look at your box, and you should do this too, when you look at your box and you hold it up, if you see air in between your two pieces of clay, you have a problem. You should not see air between these pieces. If so, you got to fill that with clay from the inside. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is look around the outside edge.
There's air right there.
To try, yeah, there was air right there. You're right, Grady. So I had to push that together so that I don't see those gaps. Then I'm going to try and get things to line up precisely on my surfaces. Now, pieces like this, see how that piece is sticking out? I can take my knife and just trim that. Clay that is sticking too far out along the bottom, just cut that off. Okay. Alright, now what I need to check is the top edge of my box because my lid needs to sit flat. So, do you see how this wall right here is taller than this wall?
Cut it off.
Yes, cut it off. You're just going to take your knife tool. Now, if your clay is leather hard, this will be easier to do. Soft clay doesn't cut as easily. So I'm just going to kind of hold that knife steady. If you want my help to do this, I will help you. I kind of get down low like this to see where my tall spots are. Like I've got a tall spot over here. So I'm going to trim that off. And the reason we do that is so your lid lays flat. If you get to this point and there's still class time to work, let me know, and then I will show you how to do the lid, but I'm not sure we'll get that far today to work on lids. Okay? So, that's all you need to know about how to finish building the box. Get your 5 slabs rolled out first. 2 big rectangles get the stamp, 1 does not because that's your base. Okay.